It's 5 p.m. The office is finally quiet. The last colleague just headed home. And for the first time all day, you can finally hear yourself think. But instead of feeling a sense of accomplishment, you feel that familiar pit in your stomach. You've been working for 8 hours straight. You've answered dozens of urgent emails, fielded constant texts, and jumped into those quick meetings that were anything but quick. You've been living on the defensive all day, reacting to everyone else's priorities while yours sat untouched. Now, the work you actually get paid for, the documentation, the planning, the deep clinical thought is only just beginning. And you're faced with that impossible choice. Do you stay late and miss dinner again, or do you pack up the laptop and let that work follow you home to the dinner table? You aren't staying late because you're slow or because you lack discipline. You're staying late because your day was designed for reactivity. Today, I'm going to show you how to protect your evenings without falling behind by shifting from defensive mode into a proactive command center. We're going to use behavioral science, specifically environmental design and pre-commitment, to make sure your real work is done before the clock hits 5 o'clock. To fix this, we have to look at why it's so easy to get stuck into this reactivity trap. Think about your day like a game of whack-a-mole. Every time a notification pings or someone knocks on your door with a quick question, your brain doesn't see a task, it sees an actual person. As a helping professional, you're wired to be, well, helpful. When someone reaches out, your instinct is to jump in because you want to be supportive or because you want them to feel valued. And honestly, it feels good to have the answer. It feels good to be the person other people can rely on. But there's a quieter pressure here too. We often react immediately because we're afraid of what happens if we don't. We worry that if we don't reply right away, we're going to look selfish or we'll let someone down, or they'll think that we're just not on top of things. So we say yes to the interruption to avoid that feeling of guilt. The problem is that every time you pivot to be helpful for someone else, you're actually borrowing time from your future self. You pay a switching cost in mental agency. By the time 5 o'clock rolls around, your brain is fried. You've spent the whole day protecting everyone else's priorities, and now there's nothing left in the tank to protect your own. You've been living on the defensive, and the defense is exhausted. So, how do we stop borrowing time from our future selves? Most of us tell ourselves that this is just part of the job. We think that being a good or a dedicated employee means responding the second someone reaches out. We feel like we have zero control over our time because the expectations of others are so high. But here's the truth that's keeping you working later than everyone else. The problem isn't the requests themselves. It's the constant switching between them and your own priorities. Every time you pause in your documentation to answer a quick text or interrupt your planning to take a 2-minute phone call, you aren't just losing those few minutes. You're paying a massive cognitive tax to get your brain back into the zone. By the time you find your phone again, another notification pings and the cycle just keeps repeating. You're exhausted because your brain is stuck on a loop of starting and stopping, never actually getting into a flow. The good news is that you have more control than you think. You can stop the switching by simply changing when you choose to respond. To start reclaiming your day tomorrow, I want you to try organizing your time into 3 distinct blocks. First, create a deep work block. This is your proactive time, the sanctuary for the work that actually requires your expertise. During this block, the phone goes in a drawer and the email tab stays closed. I know that's a hard one for people. Put a sign on your door alerting others to when you will next be available to help them. You aren't being selfish, you're being professional. You're giving your documentation and your planning the undivided attention that they deserve. Next, build in a communication block. This is your designated reactive time. This is when you expect to be helpful to other people. You open the inbox, you return the calls, and you open your door. The best part is that because you've scheduled this time, you can be 100% present for those people. You can actually listen and help without that nagging guilt in the back of your mind that you should be doing other work. Finally, give yourself a buffer block right at the end of the day. This is just 15 or 20 minutes to tie up any loose ends and clear the decks for the next day. Think of it as a gift that you're giving your future self, a way to make sure that when you walk out that door, you're leaving the work behind instead of carrying it home in your head. If your workflow and day allows it, you can alternate deep work and communication blocks throughout the day to allow multiple opportunities for people to get in touch with you. For example, you could have a deep work block from 8 to 10, a communication block from 10 to 10:30, and another deep work block from 10:30 to 12:30. Then after lunch, you can offer another communication block or even two with a deep work block in between. When you group your tasks like this, you aren't working more hours, you're just wasting less energy. You're making sure that when 5 p.m. hits, your work is actually finished because you weren't trying to do it while also being everyone else's on-call firefighter. Setting up these blocks is the easy part. The hard part is actually sticking to them when you see the first notification. This is where most people fail, not because they lack willpower, but because they haven't made a pre-commitment. In behavioral science, pre-commitment is about deciding now how you will handle a situation later. But in a helping profession, this isn't just a contract with yourself. It's actually a contract with your team. If you want people to respect your deep work blocks, you have to tell them exactly how and when they can reach you. Pre-commitment means proactively telling your colleagues, I'm in deep work from 9 to 11, and I'll be back online for our communication block at 11:15. But we also have to deal with the what if. You need a way to stay focused without the nagging fear that you're missing a genuine crisis. The key is to create a red flag signal. You have to teach your team and your family what a true crisis actually looks like and give them a specific way to signal that it cuts through the noise. Maybe a phone call means that it's an emergency, while a text means whenever you get a chance. Or perhaps you have a specific Slack channel for urgent clinical needs. By defining the signal, you're giving yourself permission to ignore everything else. You don't have to check the notification to see if it's important because you know that if it were a crisis, they would have used the red flag signal. Now, there will be days when you intentionally choose to be more accessible. If you have a client in an active crisis or there's a major shift happening within your agency, you might decide ahead of time that today is just a defensive day. The difference is that you are making that choice proactively. You aren't being hijacked by a random notification. You're making a clinical decision to prioritize accessibility for a specific reason. When you pre-commit to your structure and you teach others how to navigate it, you stop being an on-call firefighter. You become a professional who is in control of their time, which is the only way to ensure you're still standing at the end of the day. Protecting your evening doesn't actually happen at 5 p.m. It happens at 8 a.m. when you decide how your day is going to be structured. When you stop living on the defensive, when you stop the constant switching and start grouping your work, the second shift starts to disappear. You finish your documentation during the day, which means you get to be fully present at the dinner table at night. You can finally stop choosing between a great professional and being a present human being. You can protect your evenings without falling behind, but you have to stop reacting to the day and start leading it. If this whack-a-mole workflow feels all too familiar, I want to help you build a system that breaks the cycle for good. I'm going to dive deep into the behavioral science of how helping professionals can reclaim their time and build a practice that is actually sustainable. Now that you understand how to organize your tasks to get more done, check out the video on the capacity trap and why saying yes too quickly is actually the biggest disservice you can do to the people you're trying to help. I'm Amelia Delphonse, and it's time to master your week. I'll see you in the next one.